Bismillah, alhamdulillah, wa salatu wa salam ala rasulillah. When we look at the seerah of the Prophet Muhammad, we have the ability to see a model of da'wah that is experiential. Experiential meaning that a model that was lived, implemented. When we add on to that reality, the history of the Muslim community as lived over the centuries, then we have a body of experience, both prophetic and communal, meaning that we see the reality of how a prophet implemented the deen. And we see the struggles of a community and how that community of believers has made an effort to implement the deen. In addition, we see a community which is in flux because we have a number of different generations coming and going. We have various people from different geographical and ethnic backgrounds coming and going, meaning being born and dying, coming into Islam and maturing, right? And we even see what it's like for people to come into Islam and then leave Islam, either by the intellectual deviation, meaning they go in a different direction than that direction of the Muslim community that's practicing the principles of Islam, right? Or they leave Islam intentionally, like they just openly declare we're no longer Muslim, right? So some people, they think they're still within the fold of Islam based, right, upon their practice, but then intellectually in their ideas, right? And what they hold on to as far as what they think the deen is, they deviate. Others openly leave the deen, right? And that in the later case, the numbers are few in that regard. Mostly what we find is people deviating from the deen because of their commitment in creed, right? Because of their commitment in what they understand, right? They begin to have a commitment that's different than the commitment of the community overall, right? The Jama'ah, the people of the Sunnah and the Jama'ah. Some of the ulama have said that in today's time we would do well to reflect upon the history, the cumulative history of the Muslim Ummah, to understand and take lessons. This is what the ulama did when it came to the time of the Sahaba themselves. So we see so much fiqh that came out of the historical period of the Sahaba, whether it was when the community was stable or when the community was in dispute. The ulama applied themselves to comprehending that particular period, the period of the Sahaba, radiallahu anhum ajma'in, and they extracted lessons in fiqh from that reality. And that became part of the collective consciousness of the Muslim community overall, right? That reflection of the fuqaha in understanding how do we come to a comprehension of the companions falling into a dispute amongst one another, right? Radiallahu anhum ajmain. How do we make sense of this? Well, you find that the ulama, they took what? Benefit. They extracted wisdom. And that wisdom, when they extracted it, it was rooted in principles. And from that, they built fiqh. They built an understanding of what it is that is in line with the Quran and Sunnah, what is not in line with the Quran and Sunnah. And from this, we began to come to an understanding of the rules of takfir, the rules of bid'ah, the rules of how we should interact with one another in conflict, and so on and so forth. The rules of how the leader should respond to those who rebel, and so on and so forth. And so the ulama, from that reflection upon the time period of the Sahaba, were able to gain insight. This is what's missing today, is gaining insight into the collective experience of the Muslim community from the prophetic era itself, and from the era of the companions, and from those who come after and after and after. In any community which doesn't reflect upon its own historical reality, right, is always subject to digression, always subject to not being able to what? To gain from its own experience, and is always subject to making the same mistakes and falling into a cyclical reality. What we gain from the understanding of the seerah is something which is worthy of focus for the minute, as far as our reflection is concerned. What we gain from the understanding of the seerah is to see a model as it is built, a model in the making, right? A model in the making. What we gain from the understanding of seerah is to be able to have vision of where we should be as a community, what direction we should go in. And this is the problem that we have today. We don't have that historical insight to learn from the past, and we don't have a forward looking into that as part of our thinking, so that we're able to build the vision of where we want to go. And that vision shouldn't be utopic. It should be rooted in the reality of building community, right? So that forward movement can't always be understood only as Islamic State, as some have concluded in their reading of Seerah. But that forward movement, as far as thinking is concerned, as far as progress, it should be in building a community that's able to what? To represent the reality of revelation lived. Right? Regardless of the geographical constraints, a community which is able to carry the message of Tawheed, the message of Islam. Allahu alam. La ilaha illallah. Wa Muhammad Rasulullah.